what do I want my tomorrow or my today to look like? Don't just be reactive, be proactive. That's the best tip I can give people. Just be proactive.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Mark Struczewski. Previously, episode 1277 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 2 years, 2 months, 27 days, 14 hours, and 30 minutes since we last recorded that conversation. But that was then. This is now. Mark, there was a ton of things that we talked about when we connected, right? Your podcast. We didn't touch much on your books, which I'd like to get into in this conversation as well. But what's new in your world?
Has it been 2 years already? Oh, my goodness.
2 years and 27 days and 14 hours and 30 minutes.
well, who's counting, right? Who's counting? Well, a lot has happened. My podcast has now had 487 episodes, which is a lot to the rest of the world, but to you, it's like nothing because you got like, what, 1 billion episodes out or something like that now.
About 487, congratulations. Yeah, well done.
Well, thank you. Coming up with the magic 500. I'm also trying to get more into online training. I really like that space where I can create great content and then people can come 24/7, 365 and get more training as opposed to going out on the road. I know a lot of people like to speak out on the road, but you got to drive to the airport and go through security and get on the plane. And I just rather just from the comfort of my home, create this valuable training for the world. And so that's one thing I'm really focusing on now.
That's great, though. So the podcast has grown, right? Is it still named the Mark Struczewski podcast?
Yes, sir. I mean, with this many episodes, as you know, the worst thing you can do is change the name of a podcast. So it's never going to change the name now. I mean, if you want to change the name, maybe when you're 6 or 7 episodes in. But when you get over like 20 or 30 episodes, it'll be a big mistake to change the name of the podcast.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. It's great to know the podcast has grown. Did you see, I know some people envision, like I was listening to another friend, and he said he shot for 5 years. He's all the way past that now. Did you have a time format that you shot for, and are you past it now?
I did not. I just started the podcast July 7th, 2017, and I'll just say, let's see where this goes.
Wow.
And then 1 became 10, which became 100, which became 400. Now it's 487. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, it started way back in 2017, and I love doing the podcast. I mean, I just love talking to great people like you. I love being guests on shows like yours. And it's just, I love the podcasting medium because you can be out on the run, you could be on a plane, a train, you can be driving to work. And it's because it's audio only. Most podcasts are audio only. You could take it with you, which is really awesome.
Now, productivity and being a productivity specialist is what you've delved into on the podcast. When I last spoke with you, has that evolved?
Yes. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm more into online training now. I still coach clients, but I really don't like to go out and speak. I'm 54 years young and I'd rather stay home. The term for me is an ambivert. So when I'm on stage, I'm an extrovert, but I really like to be alone or just with my wife. I'm not like a person who likes all the attention, but yeah, I'm really focusing more on online training and coaching over Zoom and on the phone.
Are you still in Texas?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I love the country. I mean, the state of Texas in the United States. We say the country of Texas down here because if you're not from the United States, the state of Texas can actually close off the borders. We've got the ports, we've the cattle, we've got the gas, the oil reserves, we got the land. So we just let all the other people in America come to visit our country down here in Texas.
It's beautiful there. What part of Texas are you in?
Houston, Texas.
Sweet. All right. So, all right, the earliest childhood memory, I'm fascinated by it, right? We were talking about your mother. Well, your mother was there. Your father put you on his lap, right? And you're going up in the lawnmower, right? It flips over and, oh, wow. You could have lived in the fear of that, but of course you cut your grass today, but you don't go up the hill, right?
Oh, we don't have hills in my house now, so I'm safe.
How do you see that parallel to everything that you've done with the podcast from the perspective of getting started because you're excited for it? Of course, I'm sure something happened, right? That could have thrown you off of that. Nevertheless, you've stuck to it. Is it parallel? Did I answer the question that I asked you?
Well, yeah, take my podcast. I just jumped in. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing. And I think a lot of people are doing a disservice to themselves when they go, well, what if I fail? So what if you fail? Who cares? I mean, if you look at all the high performers, the successful people in our world today, they aren't timid. They said, let me try it. Okay, that didn't work. Let me try this. It didn't work. And I think people need to, jump in the pool. They need to just go for it. I mean, it's like he says so eloquently, just do it. And that's what I did when I heard Gary Vaynerchuk in the spring of 2017 saying the future is voice and audio. You need to start a podcast. I said, okay, I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to start it. And on July 7, 2017, I did. I think more people just need to do it. You just need to figure out what that thing is that scares the crap out of you and go do it. And you may fail, but what if you succeed? And so I think that's the lesson I learned from almost killing my father and me on the lawnmower going up the hill is you just have to take chances. You just have to take risks.
How can one remain productive in such of a distracted world, though?
You need to be in control of technology, your phones, social media. You need to be in control of your time. You need to say, okay, I always tell people, tell your time where to go instead of wondering where it went. So sit down either at the end of the day or beginning of the day and say, okay, what do I want my tomorrow or my today to look like? Don't just be reactive, be proactive. That's the best tip I can give people. Just be proactive.
You were being super proactive by reading your Bible every day when we spoke, right? For 3 years. Have you continued that?
I have every day. I don't always understand what I'm reading, but I read it every single day. It only takes 15 minutes a day to read the Bible through in a year. But it goes back what I said a few minutes ago. You just have to do it. You can't say, well, tomorrow or I'll do it later. Just do it.
How has that impacted your productivity? And would you connect it to the spiritual side of who you are?
Well, my wife says I'm a much calmer, gentler person since I've been reading the Bible for nearly 5 years now. But in terms of productivity, it's about priority. I always tell people if Richard Branson showed up at my house, woke me out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, because I'm still sleeping at 5 o'clock in the morning, and said to me, hey, listen, I want to whisk you away to give you $1 billion on my private island right now. I'm like, no, I got to read my Bible. Or maybe I bring my Bible with me, but it's that important that I do that.
Yeah. I love how you said, maybe I'll bring my Bible with me. Yeah, because I was thinking, you could carry your Bible with you.
Yes, I could do that, I guess.
I believe you're an avid reader. Is that correct?
Yes, I commit to reading at least 30 minutes every day, if not more, because I found out people like Mark Cuban and Brendan Burchard and Tony Robbins and Bill Gates, they read a lot. They make it a priority to read. And I think when people look at how many people are successful and they read and then they say, well, I don't have time to read. I'm like, well, you're not as busy as Mark Cuban or as Bill Gates, and they make time to read every day. So I want to be like a wealthy person. I want to be a high performer. And I found out that they read a lot. So I make it a high priority to read every single day.
Now, you spoke about Nike saying, just do it. Did you read that book by chance, Shoe Dog?
Yes, I did. Two books that really influenced me was Shoe Dog and the story of Richard Branson. I can't think of the book, but it's My Virgin, something about My Virgin Story, whatever. Two really good books because they tell you they came from nothing. People don't realize they came from absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'll check out the Richard Branson, but definitely Shoe Dog was a fascinating story. All right. Now, there are children in the midst of everything that you're doing. Of course, they're adults now, right? 2 daughters. How have they been impacted by everything that you're doing, Mark?
Well, they're 26 and 22 and out of the house. They live away from me in other towns and other states, so I don't get to see them as much as they used to.
But have they been impacted by the journey you've decided to take in your life?
Not so much. They're more aligned with their mother. So they don't really have, they know what I do, but that's about it.
All right. Now, you said complexity, right, is the gateway to procrastination. So keep it simple. How important is it for us to really keep it simple in life?
Oh, it's 100% important. So many people are making things needlessly complex. And when I talk with my clients, when I'm on my podcast, hopefully I've served your audience well here. you got to keep things simple. If I told you, if you said, what are your top tips? And I said, well, Angel, here's 69 things you could do today. Your audience is going to go, well, no, I'm not going to get started. But if I give them one simple thing to do, like, hey, tell your time where to go instead of wondering where it went by planning, and that's all I say, I'm like, oh, I can do that. And so I think we need to get rid of complexity. We need to, I don't want to say dumb things down, but make them as simple as possible. Because when things are simple, you're more likely to do them. And then you get momentum going on your side.
Love it. Mark, you need to make your name a bit simpler, right? Your last name, right? Like...
But you know what? I am the only Mark Struczewski in the entire world.
It works then. Well, that's wonderful.
Yes, it does.
Well, my friend, again, it's such a grand opportunity to reconnect with you. I'm repeating this often for episodes of individuals that are coming on because it's the truth, but it's actually really inspirational and motivational to jump back on here after 2 years and to hear that you've continued on the path, right? That you've not given up. It definitely helps my path be encouraged. It helps me to be encouraged to keep going after the thing I seek after. So I do appreciate you sharing with the amazing audience as well as with me, my friend, and keep doing what you're doing. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, yeah, I would just say I want to help the world become more productive. And the easiest way you can do that is a free resource. If you go to my website, MrProductivity.com, Mr. is all spelled out, you will be transported to MarkStruczewski.com. You're welcome. So at MrProductivity.com, sign up for the free 7-day productivity challenge. Just give me 2 minutes a day for a week, and I will teach you how you can be more productive in the most simple way I can, because I really want you to be more productive.
Okay, thank you for that, amazing audience. Of course, you can check that out. Mark Struczewski, thank you, my friend, for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.